I don't want to live on this planet anymore, and you're listening to Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we'll be discussing Season 6, Episode 9, A Clockwork Origin. My name is Michelle Burlingame. With me are Tommy Roulette.
How's it going?
Pete Woodward.
That's me.
Our guest today is comedian and podcaster Jim Tews.
Hello.
Welcome
Hi.
to the show.
Thanks.
It's a year in the making, I think, because we tried to do this last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the timing just got all messed up because we're on the tail end of the Accidental Comedy Festival. So we managed to catch you in Cleveland. So thanks for coming over on this humid Cleveland September day.
No problem.
It feels nice in here, though. You've
Yeah.
got the
Great
AC
in
on,
here.
Yeah.
and it feels awesome.
We're not even turning it off today. You can gate that out later, Tom.
Yeah, it's all right.
It'll get bad real fast if we turn that down. It's bad enough at night. So something we ask people occasionally, especially if we aren't particularly super tight with them, is what's your relationship to the cartoon Futurama? Is it just a casual thing? Are you like a freak about it like Bill Squire? Or there's no wrong answer.
Right.
I mean, the guest last week watched like 2 episodes because we asked him to watch them before he came on, and that's the extent of his experience. So, you know, other than watching it last night late, what's your relationship with the show?
I'm in between Bill Squire and the last guy.
Okay, that's kind of where I am.
So you're
Yeah.
the average viewer.
Yeah,
You've
I'd
seen
say I'm
it.
the average viewer. I like, if it's on, I'll watch it. When it was on Netflix for a while, wasn't it? I
on
watched
Hulu
it a
now.
lot when it was on Netflix, but it's a little more like something I put on in the background or at night. you
Yeah.
know? But
There's
it is a great show.
It's like that. Isn't there a whole Reddit community of people that just like listen to Futurama to fall asleep?
Yeah,
There might very likely
There's
is.
like probably millions of, thousands
If there
of
isn't, there
Futurama
should be.
subreddits.
Yeah, there is now. with another $1 million idea down the drain.
Well, I do want to bring up that tomorrow from record day, which is Monday, Labor Day, is John DiMaggio's 50th birthday.
He's only 50?
He's only 50. I was really surprised when I read that. I thought he
Yeah.
was already late 50s, maybe nearing 60. Billy West is like 70-something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's John DiMaggio's 50th birthday.
I mean,
tomorrow.
that.
Oh, wow. Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
That's Friday,
As
right?
in Tuesday.
As in Tuesday, the 4th.
So
So yesterday,
When
if
he
you're
was
listening
doing
to
the
this
show-
on Wednesday.
he was like
That's
30.
Fry, right?
Yeah.
Bender.
It's Bender. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Billy West was maybe not 70s, but definitely mid to late
He's
60s.
like didn't we look it up one time? He's
Probably,
like 71 or
but-
72.
It's weird because he's got that really, like
Yeah.
forceful voice. But I would have figured he was at least in his 40s when this happened. But wow, I need to get into voice acting. It seems like a really
Oh, I'd love to do it.
yeah. Well, you kind of have.
Oh,
I
no,
mean,
he's
you've done your own
66.
animated
Billy
stuff.
West is
Yeah.
66.
Perfect. He's
Who
ageless
voices
though.
Fry? What's that guy's name?
Billy
That's
West.
Billy West.
That's Billy West too.
yeah.
As I was
He's
watching it last
all
night,
of the
I
voices.
I never like I know most of the time. I'm really good at picking out voices, but
Yeah.
as I'm watching it last night, I keep going like 4 of you are Billy West. and I can't
Yeah.
remember which ones. And then by the time the credits hit,
He's
I was-
Zoidberg, the professor. He's Fry.
I knew he was the professor. I remembered that for sure.
And then there was,
He also was. I think he did Doug Funny for some time. He's Stimpy. He did Ren also for part of the time of Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
like he's been.
he was a Howard Stern guy for a lot of years in the
Yeah.
early 80s. Like, I mean, it's a really interesting career, and he's basically just a failed musician who, like
Oh,
in the
really?
early 70s, he was trying to be a rock and roll guy and then wound up doing voice acting.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There
It's,
was that documentary about voice actors that was on Netflix. A while
John
back.
DiMaggio made that.
my
really?
friend was he worked on
That
that.
I know that voice. That's
Yeah.
a great documentary, and I will recommend it to everyone who can watch documentaries.
Yeah, that was my friend Johnny was he might have been a producer on that.
Cool.
But yeah, it was fun. I liked this episode, but it was very strange, and I felt like the bottom dropped out at the very end of it. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's not my favorite. It's not bad. It's not great. I don't know. It's overall okay.
Calling Kubert a crap scallion right off the bat, I can get behind because that guy's an asshole.
the Kubert jokes are pretty good. This is, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, the infamous "I don't want to live on this planet anymore" line comes from this episode.
Yeah,
And it's said a couple times.
and it's accurate. I
And
mean,
yeah.
it's another episode where it's shockingly accurate to current events. And that happens more often than you'd like really think anymore, which is the strange part. Like there's some stuff in this that's just like, oh, this is just like exactly like right now, even though it's 10 years old, which sucks. Because
It's only 8 years old.
I round up. It's
Almost exactly 8 years old.
Really?
It was the beginning of August.
Oh, no
2010 when this episode came out.
Like I get real sensitive about this stuff where they're like trying to ban evolution in schools and stuff because it wouldn't necessarily happen here, but I figure at some point my daughter's going to have to go to school with people that did have that happen, whether it's in college or something else where it's just like homeschooled kids or from kids from Texas where they didn't, they banned evolutionary talk or whatever from it.
Right, they're going to encounter those people later in life as well. If it keeps going somewhere else.
I feel like it happens a lot less lately. I mean, maybe not like super recently. Maybe that's different. But when I was a kid, they taught us evolution and everything. And in college, they teach evolution. And I in my experience, did not encounter anyone who was like, "Nope, that's bullshit."
Yeah,
in my school experience,
I think what happens now, especially if you wind up with I'm saying homeschoolers. I don't mean to shit on them either. Like, I mean, there's definitely, I think, a trend towards homeschooled people to be a little out there because it's a super different experience. But, just making assumptions. I know. God, I feel like an apologist. Just like I know some of my best friends were homeschooled, but it's more like people will be quiet about it. I mean, just like if you have what you know is an unpopular opinion, unless it's the guy down the street that during the 2016 election hung 2 Trump banners and a bunch of American flags outside of his upstairs duplex apartment. And then I think he stole our Hillary sign or something. It was just that kind of thing. It's like Lakewood is about as blue as it gets. Right. And just that one guy being like, nah,
I was really surprised at how many Trump signs I saw in Lakewood during the election, to be honest
would
with
seem
you.
Weird.
I was like, what the fuck? Why are there Trump signs everywhere? And then I realized I realized that there are some affluent people in Lakewood that kind of suck.
God, we always end up skewing towards it. I think it's just because it's
well, all the young people live in apartments, and all the not necessarily, but there are renters and then there are owners of homes in Lakewood. And as far as depending on what side of Lakewood you were on, there were a shit ton of Trump signs, and I was really confused.
There's still I was walking here over by Mike's house. There's a big flagpole with the big "Make America Great Again" flag.
Jeez.
Seriously?
Still there.
Wow.
Oh shit. That's.
I was like, what?
Where's the civil disobedience? Like, who's the lady that climbed up the flagpole in South Carolina and like tore down the Confederate flag? Like, can we hire her to do something like that here? It's just because it would be fun. I mean, I'm not advocating vandalism, but
there would be so many people for that guy to blame. Because he'd be surrounded by people who would like to do it.
I think nowadays it's less of a problem with people who want to ban evolution talk in schools and more like flat earthers.
Right, but they mention flat earthers in this.
They do, but this was way before the whole flat earth thing. Like now it's huge.
I mean, to be honest, the flat Earth thing was before the round Earth thing.
I can respect
in
people.
history.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying I can. That was before science saved the day. I can respect people who want to believe in their religion and whatever. That's fine as long as you're not hurting anyone else. But flat earther people, you're just like not paying attention to facts and like.
But isn't that the problem across the board? Like.
You just don't understand horizons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't either for thousands of years. And then smart people figured it out and wrote it down and passed it
and can be proven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We built
You can
spaceships.
literally go up and you can book a trip on the Virgin whatever the fuck and see it with your own 2 eyes. But then they'll say, no, it's a hoax. NASA paid for it's a projection on the outside. I'm not actually in space. Well, you want to jump out?
That thing at the mall that you get in and they have a video screen and like the box just shakes.
That's what they say.
And tilts around.
Flat
God.
earthers are just
what do they
idiots.
What do they get if we just found out today? Like, it's flat. Like, what do they
yeah,
do?
what's your prize?
Yeah, what? They're like, cool, now I can die or whatever.
You
just go on living.
You just get to tell people they're wrong. I mean, and it makes me think of I don't even know if it's a Kyle Kinane bit or just like a one-off thing from a podcast or something. It was just like, I think it's in his last Netflix thing because he's talking about being agnostic versus being an atheist, and he's like, you being an atheist is just being like an asshole version of agnostic. Like, what do you win? You're just like, there's no God and fuck you. It's just like it doesn't matter either way. Like, there's no like, you don't get a lottery winning or something from it. It's just like, okay, so whether it's right or wrong. I even be more like upset because we've gotten Michelle worked up about anti-vaxxers before too, and I totally agree with you. But that's something where it's like, if you ignore that, like, you're actually causing a danger to society around
other
you.
People.
Yeah.
But hey, everyone's special. I had never heard of them call the ship the Science Mobile. I guess that was a joke in it, but it's a good name for it.
It is.
And I'm wondering, like, if there would be something else to, like, what would your car be?
A science mobile.
It would just be a science mobile? From what kind of science?
Mobile.
I don't know. It's just made of science.
And what would your car be, Michelle?
I don't know.
The uncomfortable shoe mobile.
Probably.
Mine. The cars are just filthy, and it's not even. I don't even really drive them anymore because I work at home. But I just go out and I'm like, why is there shoes and like there's a mask that's been sitting under the driver's seat of the one car for about 6 months.
I obsessively keep my car clean. I don't know like how I learned it. My mom wasn't really great at keeping her car clean. My dad was pretty good because he always had to put his gear in and out of his Jeep when I was a kid, and he tried to keep it debris free.
Was it like a Jeep? Like a Jeep Cherokee?
It was a Cherokee that he drove until he got a different Jeep and then gave it to me, and then I drove it until it got stolen.
I just meant like if it was one of the ones you could just like hose out though too.
We had this Jeep for it was the Jeep that my dad drove when I was a kid, and then it turned into my car as an adult, and then it got stolen from Marine Towers West when I lived there, and and then it got all of its guts ripped out by the people who stole it, and then I had to get my new car. But I've just been I for some reason I can't have like things in my car. It's got to be completely
debris free.
I have one umbrella that stays in the back seat in the little pocket on the back of the passenger side, and that's all that I keep in my car. That's it.
Like being on a ship.
Yeah.
You have to like tie everything down. That was
it just rolls out.
Yeah. If anything that gets sucked into the pumps,
right,
would pump the water out. And stop it from.
And like you spent time in the Coast Guard. Do you ever go out for like extended periods? You always come back to port at the end of the day when you're patrolling or whatever.
It depends on what kind of boat you're on.
Yeah.
What kind of ship you're on. I was on a medium endurance cutter, so we would go out for like 5 days, but then pull into port. But the run would be like up the coast or down the coast.
Yeah, like my brother was in the Navy on submarines, and like that was so you'd be like 6 months underwater.
Yeah. No, I couldn't do that.
No, he's like taller than me, so I don't know how he did it.
Oh,
anyway.
man. Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, being like small on a ship wasn't that bad. Seeing like big dudes on there, you're just like, this seems miserable.
I mean, honestly, if I have to deconstruct some of the psychology, I think he's just sort of a masochist. So that all plays into it. He's like, no, I'm fine. I'm just going to be uncomfortable forever. I didn't realize that Hubert went to the Wozniak Nerd Academy.
The Flinchers.
I did catch that.
But
there's a lot of good sign gags.
Yeah, all the like even at the protests, they were so good. I got to see Steve Wozniak talk once, and he's crazy. It was awesome because it was just like at a conference, and he was the keynote speaker, and he just comes out and like talks about himself, like stream of consciousness rambling for 45 minutes, and like, and then we did this, and it was crazy, and that guy, he's kind of stupid, I don't like him, and then I got this watch, and it's not an Apple watch, because I don't even own Apple stuff, and he's like so just exuberant about everything, and clearly like smart as shit, but like very untethered,
Was.
as you would be with like billions of dollars,
Right.
And like a bug up your ass to make spaceships and stuff.
Did you ever see that Funny or Die movie, I, Steve, I think it was called?
No.
Had Justin Long, and Wozniak was played by the guy who played Hurley on Lost.
On Lost.
yeah.
What's his name?
It was funny. They really made him out to be like this like sad sack Baxter kind of character where he's just like always getting trumped by jobs, and he's like, oh well.
Who didn't?
It was a pretty funny movie. It was just a total like low budget. It basically looked like a 90-minute Funny or Die sketch.
Really?
But yeah, it was. I thought it was good.
What? Who was? They did the one like made for TV movie. Probably early 2000s. Anthony Michael Hall was Bill Gates, and God, was it Joey Slotnick with Steve Wozniak? And he just like full tie-dye glory. Like they just did him up to look like a electric Kool-Aid acid test guy. He was. I forget who was Steve Jobs, but it was basically like the one they did about Letterman and Leno.
Oh yeah,
like the Late Shift, but it was like about Microsoft and Apple, and it just.
Oh yeah, I remember when that came out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things where Anthony Michael Hall went through the full gamut, where he went from being like the nerd to the jock, and then back to being like Bill Gates as sort of the uber nerd overall. There was the one protest sign that I really liked, and this is the one that scared the shit out of me, was fake science is real science, because that's basically like a headline you'd see now. Like that's a tweet that Trump would make.
That's a way of life.
And then nothing ever changes was the other one. Like, yeah, that's good. And then the good old George Bush throwback line of "Read my lips, no new taxonomies." So that would have been that was probably a 20-year-old reference at that point, really. Because wasn't that like 91?
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that happening because that was his.
No,
big.
it was earlier than that. It had to have been.
Well,
he would have been running. He was like 88.
It was 92, I think, is when Clinton started.
Yes.
So, yeah, it would have been earlier. It would have probably been.
Oh my God.
89, yeah.
Well, I was born in 1988. So.
that's a recurring theme on the show for sure.
I just remember it from all the joke reference to that.
Yeah,
that's my context for it.
I don't remember.
I was born in
the actual
81,
thing.
but I still like don't. I don't remember seeing that on TV as a child and being like, I don't know about this guy.
He ran the CIA. Clearly, he's up to some shady shit. And unfortunately, now despite his apparent frequent ass grabbing, still not as shitty as the other ones we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. But the lady, and I don't think she was I don't think she's a named character. She's just sort of like that Matt Groening show hysterical mother that was leading the protest of like, I don't understand this and I need to protect my children from understanding it. Like that's really the thing that gets me. It's just like, because we do deal with that now. Like most of the kids that my daughter goes to school with are fine. Most of their parents are fine, but there's the outliers that like you see them at a ice cream social or something, and you just take that step off the path into something that you shouldn't talk about with them, and you're like, oh fuck, like I can't digest this, and I cannot be around you anymore, and I hope our kids hate each other because I never want to have to deal with you as a person. It's infrequent, fortunately, but when it happens, and then of course that's like the one who's like, we're best friends, and like shit, there's gonna be play dates and fucking
That's the thing I don't know if I could deal with about being a parent.
There's plenty.
Like, layered where I'm just like, I don't want to deal with you, and I don't want my kids to have to deal with your kids.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah, a friend of mine's got just had an episode with some shit like that the other day where like there's the neighbor kid who's clearly the bad influence, and the kids love playing together, so she can't be like, get the fuck out of my house. Like, you just got to kind of deal with it. I think we have a couple kids down the street that
You're whispering.
You're whispering.
They might hear.
They might. So we moved in. I've been here about 5 years. Their daughter is a year younger than ours. And we're like, oh, cool. There's like kids we can, whatever. And they're just kind of weird. And as it just sort of escalated as things went on. So like their kids run wild, and I'd like to think we're not overprotective, but there's a certain amount, like there's a railroad track right by our house.
Yeah.
There's bad visibility because people come flying down the streets. It's like, don't play in the front yard because we don't want you to get killed. There's, it's Lakewood. Every once in a while, there's some weirdos walking around. Like, you just want to be on top of it. They let their kids run wild. Like, the 3-year-old's just running across the street back and forth. They're just like, this is not good. So they used to come down, and they'd be like, yeah, get the fuck out of our house. Go see if BB can play. And they'd come down and knock on the door. And I work from home, but my kid's either at school or at daycare. Like, she's not here during normal business hours. and I've told them that like 100 times. So I'll be upstairs doing whatever, and I hear... And they'll just go. And if I go down and talk to them, like, okay, she's not here. They don't leave. They just, like, stare.
They're like, we need parents.
Yeah. But I think what happened, this is my theory, because we talk about it with our other neighbors. I think they might have called Child Protective Services on them because they don't come down here anymore. Like, there's a very fine line that's not being crossed. And they're like, I'm fine with it. Like, I'm good with it because their kids are weird. Like, the one came over one time. We were having a party for something. She invited herself over, and they were like, okay, it's time to go. She's like, I'm going to get my revenge on you. This is a 4-year-old saying this shit.
It?
Yes. It was like a total, like, clenched fists, and like it's just,
Whoa.
It was really fucked up. So, yeah, if you want to, we can talk after the show if you want a list of the things that are hard to deal with as a parent. It's really long, but that's one of them, is you do have to get put into these situations with people that you don't want anything to fucking do with.
Almost makes you want to homeschool them and teach them that the earth is flat.
Exactly. I don't want to go that far because I'm paying too much in taxes to not take advantage of the public school system here. Like, getting them out of the house is kind of a sanity thing for a while. I guess just coming back to the lines in here, you people are as loud as you are ignorant. Like, that's Twitter.
Yeah.
That's why I don't use Twitter.
Yeah, you do every once in a while. You'll post like a picture of you and Ron Funches or something.
Well, that's actually through Instagram.
Is it just a feed that pushes it out?
Yeah, it's just a little thing that I toggle on Instagram that'll post it to my Twitter. I have a Twitter. I use it maybe once every 3 to 6 months. But yeah, Instagram shares to Twitter, so it looks like I post, but I don't.
You're on pretty regularly, but is it just like off-gassing jokes and ideas, or do you not?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like a boredom thing for me. I don't get, like, people don't interact with me on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's very rare that somebody replies, or like once in a while have something go, a little tiny bit viral.
Yeah.
But it's fun sometimes. I try to remember to plug shows on there, but I'm terrible at that too. I'm getting kind of tired of it. Instagram's the fun one still.
Yeah.
But yeah, because people can't like argue with you.
I'm not on it. I can't. I think Twitter's
Instagram
about
or
right.
Twitter?
I'm on Twitter. My personal account I kind of don't use so much anymore, so I do most of the shit on the shows.
Right. Yeah, I figured.
I had to lock mine down just because of work stuff, or I'm like, I don't need this associated with my name necessarily. So that's the secret. I just, my cover's blown. But like Instagram, I just never kind of got past it. I was real late into social media in the first place because like that was a million reasons my ex-wife and I could have fought about something, so I just avoided it. So it wasn't even until I got like divorced 10 years ago I was like, I'll wade into this and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, okay, I got through MySpace and Facebook and then Twitter, and that was enough. And I think part of it too is I don't really I don't post a lot of visual stuff. Like, I'll take pictures, but I don't push them out. Then I guess I don't think of stuff that way necessarily.
I like the visual stuff, and I like that people can't start, like, I can get your opinion through an Instagram post,
like they can comment on it.
It's not going to be spelled out like in Twitter. Like Twitter and Facebook, I feel like I scroll them until I hit something that infuriates me. Yeah, and then I'm like, I used to just like keep scrolling or like think about what to say, and then I'm just like, what am I doing? I've lost like a cumulative probably at least several days of my life reading stuff that is totally irrelevant. I only care when I see something from somebody I know who I would already speak to,
right?
Like outside of whatever. So I like it as a promotional thing, but
yeah, the broadcasting
Twitter,
aspect
I blocked
is
it
nice.
from my phone for a while too.
Really? Oh, see, that's
because you get bored and then you just go do it,
and then you're like, "Fuck, my day's ruined because I read this idiot's like thought."
There's no reason to have your brain full of that
animosity. It's just it breeds it,
or just that many different like. It's like every thought that you could have, or someone else could have, is being thrown at you.
Yeah.
Like, what about this?
Oh God, I'm schizophrenic. Fuck, like it's too much. Actually, I think my favorite sign gag in this whole thing was when the professor started yelling at people and call them like turnip farmers or something.
Oh yeah,
and they go to the guy is the chicken of the dirt.
Yeah.
That's an insultingly accurate stereotype, sir.
Yeah.
Those are good when you can get them. You know, the when you can call somebody out on their bullshit. Happens to me all the time, mostly from my wife. But you know, she can nail in on that, and then I can refute it. We have a private Twitter that happens in our house.
Right.
Life.
Yeah.
Conversation.
Yeah, we should we'll put it on the Alexa show.
Oh,
Just turned her on. Damn it, you're muted now. And you know, then that's what my daughter watches on YouTube anymore. It's just like families eating cupcakes and shit. And apparently, those people make millions of dollars in monetized views. And kids eat it up. It's weird.
Is it a whole series of families eating cupcakes?
it's like families doing mundane shit.
Oh, okay.
Probably homeschooled people. You know, it's like it's invariably like young, clearly wealthy, white for sure.
Right.
You know, families, probably evangelical Christian.
That was going to be my next
with
guess.
about 18 kids, you know, like 4
Mormon.
of their own and a couple like, yeah, that's probably good because that's, and they just like do stuff. And I'm like, this is boring as fuck. Like if we were doing this same thing, you would not want to do it. Like, look, we're all cleaning up the backyard. Like I can't get you to go out and like pick up your toys that have been sitting there for 3 weeks. That's what they're doing. Yeah, but it's, you know, watching them is fun. I don't understand it. It's like the unboxing videos and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or ASMR.
Yeah.
That
that's
doesn't
like
do anything for me. Is anybody?
I haven't
Not
tried.
really.
I'm
ASMR
scared.
is my flat Earth, and that I don't believe in it.
It's just like the response, like if someone were to whisper like on your neck or whatever, and then it kind of makes you go, huh.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be, but everybody goes, oh, hey, I'm just going to do this, and it's going to be ASMR. Or they'll, like, crinkle things into their microphone, and I'm like, no, that's just fucking annoying. That's not ASMR.
Right.
A sound...
Turn the gain all the way up.
A sound that you can make, it's not real.
Is it basically...
I mean, it's a thing. It's a real thing, but...
I understand that, like, the response... I just figure it's like when you get, like, a piss shiver... You know, like
right.
You know, sort of like, ooh, like if you could trigger that with some auditory stimulus or whatever, fine. Like if that's your thing.
Yeah, that's what it's trying to do. But it's just people making sounds into microphones with the levels adjusted so that they think that
it's very compressed and
yeah.
Yeah. Just try drugs. Jeez.
yeah, or you know,
There's actually also
your body
there was,
makes its own drugs.
Like a while ago, like a few years ago, they came out with these binaural beats that were supposed to like hypnotize your brain into thinking that you were on different type of drugs.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Did it work?
I mean, I don't think it worked really. Like, if you could get yourself in, like, actually, like, kind of, like, meditate while you were listening to it, you could, you would
like
feel
sound
sensation.
bath?
Yes.
Didn't
feel
you do a sound
sensation.
bath?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
it's making me think of the Integratron. Did I talk about that on the show or not?
I don't think so. You may have mentioned it, but...
Yeah, I went out to, I had to work on the West Coast for like 2 weeks in a row. So rather than spending my weekend in Midway Airport, I went out to stay with friends at Joshua Tree for the weekend in between.
Nice.
And they took me to the Integratron.
What's that?
It's this weird building built by a UFO enthusiast guy in the 50s. But when you go inside, it's like this acoustically perfect chamber. And they call them sound baths. It's basically like a guided meditation thing. But you lay down on these mats, and then they have giant crystal bowls that they do like,
Right.
But the entire fucking room like vibrates at different frequencies and like goes through your body. And there's like a really chill kind of. I mean, he's a clean guy. He's very clean cut, but he's, we're just trying to get down to the frequencies of the universe, and it's going to make your body. The thing is, like, my friend took me because she's like a crazy artist person. She's awesome. And I was just like, this is an experience you got to do. I was on board. But I had managed to get this terrible, like, jacked up neck on my way from Northern California to Southern California. And, like, I couldn't move my head. I was flinching. It was bad. They had that for like a day and a half. We went into the sound bath, and when I came out, like, the neck had just completely, I got into such a deep state of relaxation. Everything just fucking melted away.
Oh man, that's pretty cool.
It was really cool. Like, I'd totally go do it again, just because. And there's, and there's like, me and my friend, and we're like black t-shirt and jeans in the desert because we're rock people. And then there's like just the tourists, and then there's like the yoga teachers taking crystals out of paper bags to get them energized.
Right.
And it was really cool. Like, I didn't feel like I was on drugs, but it was definitely like that sort of relaxation where if I could have had another 10 minutes, I would have had the best sleep of my life for like another 6 hours.
Was it expensive?
I think the tickets were maybe like...
Is there a Groupon?
There might be. You have to book the tickets in advance, but you can get them on the website. I think it's like maybe like $40 a person.
Oh, that's not bad.
Lasts about an hour. I mean, you probably pay more for that for like lunch in New York.
Right.
So the whole Joshua Tree experience was pretty great. I hate the sun
It's
and
cool
I
out
hate
there.
heat. Yeah, but I totally want to live in there.
We went for a wedding, and I was like, oh, I think I might be a desert person.
Yeah, exactly, right? You're just like, they had an outdoor shower on their little compound. It was like the best bath I ever took because as soon as you turn the water off, you're dry. But you feel so clean and you haven't started sweating yet. It's just, it was fantastic. Wow. See, we just ramble. It's great. Dr. Banjo, does he ever come back, or is this a one-shot deal for him?
He might come back in another episode. I just don't remember if he's... Yeah, no, I think he does come back.
Good, because he was great.
Yeah.
I like that character.
He almost seemed like Kelsey Grammer in X-Men.
Beast, yeah.
So real quick, I have to say this
He's like
before
Dr. Zaius.
we get too far. Like, the whole reason for this episode, why it was created, apparently, was that for the 200th birthday of Charles Darwin, Kirk Cameron put out a altered version of The Origin of Species.
Oh, fuck.
And his own theories on it because he's a creationist.
Was this the banana video or something?
No, I don't think so. I think he just put out a book that was his take on The Origin of Species, since he's a evolution denier.
Yeah, he's a piece of work. Have you ever come across him, like, in professionally?
Oh, no.
No, because I feel like you bump into weird people at weird times.
I do,
so.
but not Kirk Cameron is.
He did like, and I guess it's funny that they tie it back to the monkeys because he's always like, "Who could have designed a banana? Only a all-powerful being. It's perfect. It unwraps itself. Like that's what natural selection does. You fucking dingus."
Right.
But Dr. Banjo does come back. He's in Fry and Leela's Big Fling, which will be...
Oh, yes. That's the one I was thinking.
Season 7, episode 17. So
dear.
we got a while.
Yeah.
That's the same one that Gunther comes back into also.
Oh, Smart Gunther?
Yeah.
Friends?
No. Gunter. Is it? No, is it Gunter?
Is it Gunter?
I think
he's a
it's- yeah,
smart
yeah.
monkey
A
the
smart-
professor
yeah.
made at one point.
Oh,
He has a
okay.
hat that makes him...
Oh, I remember that character.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
Cubert is kind of like Gunter as a person instead of a monkey.
Okay.
I think they're voiced by the same person too, so they're a
Billy
little
West.
interchangeable. But Dr. Banjo says this thing. He's like, evolution is merely a theory, like gravity or the shape of the Earth. And this is the thing that always drives me nuts about it, because it's like, it's this base semantic argument that if the assholes on the other side would just take a second to understand that, they'd be like, oh, but it defeats their whole thing. Scientists use the word theory differently than like an amateur detective uses the word theory. It means different things, even though it's the same word. Like, there's this testable, long-running sort of experimental thing where they've built it up, and that becomes a theory because there's so much evidence promoting that as being the thing. They just can't be absolutist about it. But then it's not like, I have a theory that the cat threw up on the rug and then ate it, and that's why the stain's there and it's a little wet. But I didn't see it happen, so I don't know. It's like, those are the things that always get me. It's like when, like, you can You can teach about religion in school. You can't teach religion in school. Saying this is what Jews believe, this is what Muslims believe, this is what Christians believe is not the same as teaching dogma as fact. And people don't understand that shit either. It's like you mentioned the word. I mean, I had to deal with like Catholic school for 10 years. I kind of get all of it, but that was like, this is it, and it's ruined me. And I've missed out on so much fun because of that bullshit. Because it wasn't just from an academic perspective. It was like, no. And then
These are
he
the
got,
rules.
3 days later, he got out and went to visit his buddy Lazarus, who was, I mean, he had like AIDS or something. And he's just like, and then he was fixed. It was awesome. And that's why we think he's a great guy. And like that, it just, I'm going to get really infuriated today. It's too
We're
early.
fired up here.
I just had a big cup of coffee too. Is the flying spaghetti monster a Futurama construct, or is that something they were referencing? Because that goes back to the guy who needed the colander in his driver's license picture.
I thought that was like an internet, like a meme kind of thing.
Is
I
it
didn't know
like-
if it originated in Futurama.
I'm not sure.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, because I think it has something to do with like
That's
it
what-
has to do with religion and like saying something
Yeah,
about.
They say like people don't believe in
It's
God.
Pastafarianism. It's a real life parody religion. So he was not created for the show. It's
Okay, so they were just referencing it?
yeah. So it was before. But he did descend from some flightless manicotti.
But people like say that instead of saying they believe in God, they believe in the flying spaghetti monster, and it's like a representative of.
Pastafarianism.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it because, I mean, all religions are made up. People don't
Right.
like that, but it's just...
I kind of like the image of. Go Wikipedia the flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah.
And look at the pictures on
It's
there.
a good thing.
It's like the creation of Adam, but God is like a pile of pasta
And with meatballs.
with meatballs.
She's not vegetarian either.
Oh, you can
like,
get one
fuck
of those
that.
like little plaques, like the Darwin, but it kind of looks like a crab though.
Yeah, it
not
does.
exactly
Yeah,
like
that's-
a.
Yeah.
Looks like a
a
crab.
six-legged crab.
It's I was surprised to see that in there, but then they turned it in. Dr. Banjo was talking about creaturism. That's not thinly veiled or anything, but the whole thing about the missing links, where the professor it turned into the rake gag, where it was just like, yes, that's this, and then that's this, and like how many did they have? Like 79 of them or something, where they're all lined up. And
Which
it was
Greg was that?
like the I've heard it referred to as like the rake gag, but it's the Sideshow Bob thing where he steps on a rake and it hits him in the face.
Oh, the rake, yeah.
And then he turns and he steps on another one. And then it just like it does the thing where it goes from funny, not funny, less funny, less funny, less funny, less funny, less funny, funny. Like you hit that point where you can just keep doing it. There's like a
right.
Has anyone written a thesis on that? They probably should.
Probably.
Yeah. You do that at Emerson or something. Like,
Right.
like scientifically measure how long or how many times you have to repeat it until it happens. That whole thing of there is this other line, but just because we haven't found it doesn't mean it didn't exist. And then the other thing on the other side saying things don't exist just because you believe in them. But like that kind of sums up all of it. Like it's just constructs. Like money's made up. Time is made up. All of these things don't exist, really. We just we're slapping our own human reality on it. Shit. It sounds like I'm on drugs right now. But really not. There's a book. This is one of the few books I've ever read that just like completely cracked my head open because it was so interesting. It's called Present Shock by this guy Douglas Rushkoff, and it kind of breaks down constructs like that to where like he takes time. Money is compressed time. And and the way that he goes through and explains it, it's like, oh my God, it totally is. Because it's like if what you have, if you're wealthy, is you can be like, I need to do this, and this. By paying people to do it, you're actually
I
create.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then that translates into things like a tree is also compressed time. When you cut the wood and then use that to burn things, it's like it takes S amount of time to create this resource and do this. And it goes and goes and goes and goes, and it's really confusing, but highly recommended.
Just to screw with my brain. For a
Yeah,
couple weeks.
it's just like, oh fuck, it's really like a wide open thing. I want to taste the soup they were making with all the stuff they were digging
the
out of that, man.
toucan.
Yeah,
Skull.
is
It's another one of Fry's dogs.
right. I mean, so does that ever come back too? Where like there was Seymour, but then is there a whole stack of dogs that have been lava ossified?
No.
Just any dog
It's
they
just a
come
gag.
across, they're like, fuck. But the whole thing with Zoidberg too. He does the dad jokes. I bet he spent a fortune on neckties. Like that's the kind of shit that I love about him. And even then going, oh, I should have done the other one.
Right.
Fuck, I can't remember what the alternate punchline was. There's the neckties.
The ring around the collar joke.
Yeah. Should have done. Yeah.
Did any of you ever get that? Because I do sometimes, and it's a bummer.
Oh, when your back of your collar gets dirty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wash my clothes. Like I'm pretty good at laundry and stuff, and it's still like, what am I
just
secreting?
do everything in my life to avoid having to wear a collared shirt again. Even though I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah,
Wearing one right now.
for
This is
leisure
a
time.
fun
even.
one. It's got a pattern on it.
Yeah, it's like it's patriotic and clearly dissenting at the same time because it's got a pattern of embroidered peace signs with American flag motif. So
It's very Nixonian.
yeah, take that.
That's the old man at J. Crew told me.
Paired wonderfully with a hat with the burger pin on the front. That I want that burger pin. That's cool.
Who all got the Manfred Mann joke?
I didn't. I mean, I know who he is,
I
but I
got
was like,
it.
I saw the square eyes, and
Yeah.
but I don't know what Manfred Mann looks like.
He had like square glasses.
I
That was like
figured.
his thing. Yeah, that was so. Was their whole thing just covering that one Springsteen song? Like, did they just ride on that?
I kind of think. Well, I mean, that was obviously their biggest thing,
Yeah.
but I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what was after that, but
So, or were they like McCartney proteges or something? Were they like a Badfinger or something? Or I don't know. Like they're the kind of
South
band,
African.
Really?
Yeah.
They're the kind of band that like WNCX would just laud.
for sure.
Yeah, and that's. I think they're still the classic rock station here. I haven't turned on a radio in years.
Well, Manfred Mann had hits like Do Wah Diddy, The Mighty Quinn.
These sound made up.
No, you.
Well, I think Do I
Mighty
Diddy was a
Quinn
Captain.
Manfred Mann?
Yeah.
Do I Diddy was a
those.
Captain Beefheart song, wasn't it?
No, do wah diddy diddy dum do do do. That song. That is
Did
not Captain Beefheart.
No. Well, to be fair, go back to like Zigzag Wanderer on Safe as Milk, because that's kind of like that. Like before the Trout Mask period, like he did do some pretty straight up blues stuff. But is that? We don't have to dig into that rabbit hole now, but I'm confused. Maybe they just covered all these songs. They were just like a really adept,
A really good
like
cover band.
yeah.
They covered Springsteen's For You, also Blinded by the Light, Spirit in the Night. What
4
else
years
did
ago
they do?
song.
So that's actually like I've kind of thought about that sometimes because I never was able to make money playing music. Just going somewhere where people don't know someone's songs and then pretending they're your own or covering them.
There was
Like
a comedian that did that recently in France,
really?
who was just taking American comedy and
Fuck.
like got famous there.
Oh my god! Who was that?
I don't remember, but like he had stolen. He wasn't stealing like he wasn't doing like Carlin bits.
Yeah.
But he like took one of Ted Alexandro's jokes and like he was taking from people that
So it wasn't like
a
Patton
French
Oswalt,
audience.
but like a next tier down. Like
I mean, he probably could have pulled off taking some Patton Oswalt stuff, but he wasn't taking. I'm just saying he wasn't doing like Seinfeld. But
yeah,
it
that's
was
ballsy
like a pretty
as
crazy
shit.
thing, and then all these people started calling him out on it. And
Oh
he was,
man,
he was like doing theaters.
which really, I mean, really, that's almost like what vaudeville was.
Right.
Really, it's just like here's
Yeah.
the go. He's gonna do this set of gags that he bought from Joe Smith or
Right.
well Smithstein probably. But I just finished that Cliff
The
Nesteroff book a
comedians.
little bit.
That's
yeah.
really good.
Yeah, and it's so weird. Like the whole, all that stuff gets like so deep, but it has just transformed so much from where it's just like, I just need to be entertained. So it
Right.
didn't matter how what's the word? Authentic, like the voice was. It was just like, just
Right.
make me laugh and forget my miserable fucking
Right.
life and make my wife shut up for 3 hours, please. And oh, burlesque dancers, even better. You know, shut up and take my money.
It's because they didn't have videos of families.
Eating cupcakes and unboxing. The unboxing stuff. Did you guys watch Who Is America at all?
I watched the first episode.
Yeah, I don't think the character was on the first episode, but he does like this crazy Finnish unboxer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then has on, you know, like, I think I don't think it was Roy Moore, but someone like that. Like he, you know, so he's just like, oh, you know, they're talking about this horrible shit, but then he's got like, we unboxed the Shopkins and you know, like total, I don't know. That was really
That's on what channel's on Showtime?
Showtime.
Okay.
And I don't know what capacity he was in, but like Billy Wayne Davis wrote on that or something or was involved. Like it's shooting fish in a barrel for someone like me to like it because it's just ridiculing fucking imbeciles that are on the way far side of political spectrum from where I am. But I still have such a soft spot for Sacha Baron Cohen. I think Borat.
brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever laughed harder than seeing Borat in the theater the first time. Like,
Yeah.
He's
you know,
super method too, which is weird for what he does, but yeah.
yeah, it's the commitment is so.
Billy
amazing.
Wayne talked to us about it on Saturday after the show, and he
Yeah.
said his focus is like absolutely insane, and the system that they have to do all that stuff because it's him and his team that have
Right.
been working together since they were like young, very young.
Like doing Ollie G stuff. Like
Yeah. Yep.
they've been basically doing that for probably close to 20 years at this point.
Yep.
Yep.
It's dig in. I think it's probably like episode 2 or 3 where that character comes in, but
Okay.
it's like that juxtaposition of like, here's a reprehensible person and they're being made to like do this completely insane shit. And just because he does the accents and it's so weird, like he's getting them to say like just, I mean, it's such a dumb like grade school gag to be like, oh, would you eat dick? You know, like
Right.
where they're like, this is the character, he's Dick the Donut. Would you eat dick? Is dick
Well,
good?
it's like the whole throw the Jew down the wells thing where he had the entire group of people singing and celebrating throwing Jews down wells.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. It's a little ridiculous.
That was the rodeo one, right?
Yeah.
Oh God. Have you ever been to a World Bone premiere?
Maybe.
I mean, it could. If I ever start dating again, that's what I'm going to start calling it. It's the Bone premiere. The introduction of the Homo Farnsworth was great, but then that whole thing with Dr. Banjo unveiling the Homo Farnsworth painting
Writing,
on the dinosaur. Have any of you gone to the Creation Museum?
No.
Which
I've been
is
dying to.
Is it? I mean, it's just outside Cincinnati, right? I think it's in Kentucky, just
It's
over
in
the
Kentucky.
river.
Yeah, with the Ark.
You should have gone. You were just down there. You
We
should have
thought
gone.
about going. Just it's expensive.
Oh God, of course it is.
And it's like it would be cool to go and just like look at this giant ark, but it's
Yeah.
so pushy of actual like the religion
Yeah.
that it's just not going to be fun. I actually saw on Netflix there's a show called Dark Tourist.
Oh
That's
yeah.
a good show.
And he goes to it in one of
Good.
the episodes, and they have
Okay.
like dinosaurs up on the ark and like stories about how like that's what happened and all this stuff. Like, I would have gone if it wasn't. I think it's
You don't want to
pretty
subsidize
pricey.
the assholes. Like that's
Right.
part of the problem for it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Hey, you're
everybody's
basically donating to their cause.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that all that stuff came out about In-N-Out, like donating a bunch to the GOP now. Like that's going to make a bunch of people conflicted. They're still going to eat the fucking hamburgers. It's not as clear cut as Chick-fil-A. Just being like, gay people are bad. I can be like, all right.
And I still eat Chick-fil-A because it's really good.
So you're like, have you? Here's the David Chang segment of the program. Have you ever gone to Fuku?
Yeah.
It's great. It's Chick-fil-A without the hate and the delicious
Yeah.
spicy French fries. You know,
Yeah.
like that's so. We need more
Wait,
of those.
Momofuku, like the noodle place?
No, he has the chicken sandwich
Fuku?
place called Fuku.
Oh, I thought you were just like abbreviating it. I was
No,
like,
no,
I never heard anybody do that. but-
You know,
I've never been to
Oh
Fuku.
shit! It's on. I think it's on East First.
Okay.
It's down. You know the crazy Indian restaurants with the
Yep.
the lights. It's right there.
Oh,
and it's
okay.
just it's a little shop. I think you might have one uptown too, but they just do like chicken sandwiches fries and maybe
I'm
like
gonna have to
coleslaw or
hit that
something.
up.
But it's excellent, and it's like I don't have to feel hateful eating this. It's good.
Right.
But that's the sort of shit where it's just like the suspension of disbelief that goes into holding on to these like religious tenets is the part that drives me nuts. And like my mother's a very devout Catholic. She will say things like, "I'm going to pray for you because I don't want your soul to go to hell," and she means well.
Right.
But like, fuck, come on. That's half of why I'm messed up. Was like just having that stuff pounded into my head from a young age, getting yelled at by priests. Fortunately, never touched by them, but. You know, those guys were dicks.
Right.
Some of them, like one, I got stories.
Sounds like you don't want to live on this earth anymore.
I don't. I want to go to wherever they go with the, this asteroid.
So the professor has them drop him off at an asteroid or a planetoid. They call it a few different things. But there's no life, and he says it's not lifeless enough. Set up my shack so that I can kick you out of it. So the professor has created these nanobots that are going to clear the water of the toxic minerals that are in it so that the professor can drink it and live by himself. I guess his angry dome wasn't good enough anymore. He had to go.
He
live
reached
with nothing else living.
deeper levels of infuriation.
Yeah. So, was it Fry says that it looks like Diet Dr. Pepper, and the professor says it's not that bad. It's just laden with toxic minerals.
And then Kubert got safely abandoned with his godfather Zoidberg.
Yeah.
Which, like Kubert again, just such an ass. It's just why don't you just go to hell? Like, he's such a dick all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, he does later apologize, but we'll get to that point at some point, seeing as we've been recording for 50 minutes and we're only like 10 minutes into the episode.
No, that's not. The rest of this is going to go quick because it does like loop over. Are you guys aware of what gray slime is?
Like in reference to the show or?
In reference to nanobots. Like that's,
No.
So like the Singularity is what we should all be fucking terrified of when the machines become sentient with artificial intelligence.
Already afraid of it.
Yeah, the other side of that is the fear of gray slime, which is we create nanobots that are basically like the professor's nanobots that just become self-replicating and destroy the entire fucking planet and overtake it. Like that's a whole other thing. There's like slow down on this shit because if that happens and they, basically a singularity with the nanobots where they can just take, if they can replicate themselves, we're fucked because if they do whatever they do and they do it perfectly and then you get eaten.
They're going to be better than us.
Yeah. Do any of you have a milkman trusting father?
That was a great joke.
Did any of you ever have a milkman? I remember having one when I was really young. There was a guy that would bring milk to the house like twice a week, probably until I was like 8.
I feel like we had a Charles Chips man.
Yeah. Oh, those were good too. They bring the big cans, they're like kettle chips.
Know what that
Is that not a
Potato chip
Ohio?
delivery.
Is that Ohio? I thought it was like
I've never even
regional.
heard of that.
Yeah, me neither.
No, they're not around anymore.
No, they're gone. But like, they just bring. I don't know if it was like a subscription service or what, but they just bring chips, delicious cans of chips. It's basically Postmates. That's what all this shit is.
Yeah,
No, it's
but
just
you couldn't order like a meal. You had to, but like it's literally like a tin, like a tub.
Yeah,
I think
Of
my
potato
grandma
chips.
used to get it.
because
I think I remember that.
Maybe it's a
delicious.
Cleveland thing because I've never heard of this.
Well, I grew up in
yeah.
Allentown, Pennsylvania, so it's
Maybe it's Northern.
yeah.
I don't know. Because I'm from Columbus.
Oh, okay.
You were kind of rural though too, right?
Fuck no.
No,
No.
I thought, it's the horses that make me think that.
No, I lived in the ghetto.
Okay. Yeah, well,
horses.
I mean, same difference, really. The potato chip man isn't going to go there. Oh, fuck. Never mind. It's just going to be a sidetrack anyway, but it is something along those lines. I wish I had potato chip delivery, though. Why did the professor have 4 pianos in his shed? Did you notice that one?
I just assumed it was a joke that was like to make the moving part funnier. Yeah. But I didn't know if it was
Yeah.
a reference to him like
I finished moving the last grand piano.
I
It's just like an annoying, heavy, shitty thing that you have
Yeah.
to move when you move.
and
'cause-
it's that clown car aspect of the shack.
Yeah.
Because like you couldn't get-
everything's crammed in.
right.
That's the funny thing about pianos. Like if you try and buy a piano new or even used, thousands of dollars, and you go on Craigslist, and it's like, we'll give you $100 to take this thing out of my fucking house. Just you have to come today and move it and be gone.
Yep.
And I've always been like tempted because I got this space right here on the wall I could just like plank around on.
Oh, that's a great piano spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do the all in the family thing. How do you guys feel about pineapple on pizza?
Dig it.
I do too.
Yeah, I don't understand the hatred. It's not.
Me
It wouldn't be
either.
my first choice, but
Yeah, I wouldn't turn it down.
no.
I'd take
wouldn't kick it out
pineapple
of
over
bed.
green peppers any day.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about green peppers and sausage?
I will eat sand before I will eat green peppers.
I feel
fucking
similarly.
hate green peppers.
I will eat them with sausage. Like if it's sausage and onions and peppers, it's a little bit different. But what I find with green peppers is they basically taint everything that they touch
Yes.
with that green pepper taste. So if you have like a supreme pizza with like sausage and pepperoni and olives and green peppers, everything's gonna taste like fucking green peppers, even if you pick them out. They just-
See,
Here's the-
the exact opposite for me. I think everything would taste like olives. So I take the
well,
olives.
yeah. That's
I'm not picky about food, but if people say, well, what don't you want to eat? My list of foods that I will not eat is green peppers, olives. That's it. Those are like the only two things that I can't fucking eat. I will not eat. And that's it.
High
Like,
five.
I'll eat everything else. Well, also I'm allergic to cinnamon, so add that to the list. But that's it. Like
Did you have any
there's
more-
nothing other than allergies and then green pepper and olives. I'll eat anything.
Did you
Like,
have any
everything
more
else is fine.
allergic reactions to that cider after
No,
the fact?
no,
So
it's
you're
fine. I kept drinking it. Yeah,
How bad is the reaction to cinnamon?
it's not terrible.
Yeah, like
it's not
hospitals.
great, but it
I
depends
have some
on
in the
what
other
it
room. We
is
could
and-
test it out.
No,
I'm allergic to red onions.
Really?
Just red onions.
I wonder
If-
why.
does it matter if they're cooked or raw or just completely?
Cooked, it's a little better. It's like a little less.
Yeah.
But if they're raw, it's my nose gets all stuffy. It screws up my stomach for like
Wow.
the day.
I have a
They
pretty
sneak
iron
it into a lot of
constitution.
stuff, too.
Yeah, I tend to go with the sweets. The Vidalias are the way to go when you need an
Oh
onion.
yeah, shallots. Shallots are good.
Olives and green peppers. I'll add melons to that list, and coconut itself, not coconut flavoring, but like the carpet
meat?
padding. Yeah, because when they it's just like, oh, I'm gonna chew on this carpet padding. No, thank you. The melons. I've never heard anybody say this, but people can taste cilantro and then it tastes like soap, and they're like, no. I think that happens to me with melons. I think I've got like a genetic thing where I'm just like, oh, this is
love
delicious
melons.
honeydew, and it's like,
I don't understand why so many people hate honeydew too. A lot of people say like, "Oh, it's garbage." I think honeydew's fucking great.
It's a
don't know.
solid. It's a solid melon.
I think it's good.
Just across the board.
Take it
Honeydew,
over a
cantaloupe.
I don't understand.
Watermelon is on the fence, but the other ones, there's something about 'em.
Watermelon doesn't taste like anything. Watermelon
A
just
good
tastes like
watermelon has a good taste, but it's very far and few between when you have
Yeah,
a
it's
piece
a
of
rarity.
watermelon that's like, oh, this is really good. Most of the time, it's just like, oh, this
Factory
is mushy
Yeah,
water
it-
in my mouth.
Yeah, I was gonna say it tastes like when you're drinking a slushy when you drink all of the syrup out of it and it's just ice. It's just like leftover ice at the bottom of the cup, but not cold. That's what a watermelon tastes like to me.
I loved Zoidberg's just desperately trying to make Kubert like him with the mural. It's
Yeah.
like he fights crime to earn some boy's respect.
Father man.
Yeah.
Father man.
How good a mural could you make with your butt? I think mine would be, it would definitely be sort of an abstract piece. But I was thinking, I wonder if Kubert meant like he could work the brush with his butt and kind of like.
Who
paint
taught
it.
you to do 3-point perspective? What a dick. Kubert sucks so hard.
Yeah, he's not good. So I mean, and really, this is where everything turns. Like the nanobots basically start evolving and creating all of the biological evolution through robot evolution. I did like Fry's reference to the tidy bowl man who owns a yacht and
Yeah.
everybody poops on him. I mean, did you ever do because I know you have the captain's hat. You got the whole outfit, but did you ever do like a tidy bowl man thing?
Wait, for what?
Just I don't know, Halloween.
No, I don't know. I
just
don't
a
know
bit.
that. I don't know what the Tidy Bowl Man looks like.
He was a guy who lived in toilets.
Okay.
And, like if your toilet was dirty, the woman of the house, because it was always the guy wasn't cleaning the toilet in the commercial. She'd open up the toilet, and the Tidy Bowl Man was down there,
okay.
waving. Advertising was so good back then.
Now we've got scrubbing bubbles.
Yeah, I was gonna say he
kind of the same deal.
Those things work though. I love that shit.
But I'm just like when Fry gets chomped by the robotic plesiosaur, he just goes, "Help, police!" No, it's no fucking police.
And I mean, he got chomped a lot, and it was like
that's a
That was a
recurring
great
catchphrase that he's been saying.
Help,
Really?
police!
Yeah, he said it like in one other of the episodes.
Yeah.
Don't eat my butt.
Don't eat my butt. Yeah, but then he gets out of the plesiosaur's mouth, and then a T-Rex grabs him immediately after, and then like a robot Triceratops like gets the T-Rex, and then there's just like.
But they're like half vehicles too.
Yeah,
Like
they're all
have like
robots.
wheels and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a little aside here when Zoidberg and Hubert connected with each other, but then he starts getting bullied by the Blob's son. And whatever he says to him, he's just like
Brett Blob is his name.
Oh, that's right. Right. When him and Dwight had the problems with him, he's like, why don't you ask your mom? She's coming over for a sex visit.
Sex visit.
And like that was the thing. Like the story on this was pretty weak, but I just feel like a lot of the one-liners that they kind of got off were good. Because really, this whole A story then, as it's going through, like even Leela and Amy getting kidnapped, like there's no danger at any point, and then it's resolved within about 4 minutes.
This little like 2 minutes of Brett Blob making fun of Kubert and Zoidberg. There's a lot of good comedy in this, because Zoidberg says, "I know how to handle bullies. You just pretend like you're pathetic," and then he says, "Help! I'm scared. I wet myself. I'm crying like a baby, and I'm soaking in pee. But what else is new?" Like it's so good. But then like the Brett Blob says these pee babies peed himself, and they says, "I'm off to pottery class, dorkwads." Like, he's going to pottery class. Why is he calling them dorkwads? Like, pottery's pretty dorky.
Because if there's one thing about bullying, it's completely hierarchical. Yeah. So the bully A bullies bully B, who finds bully C to bully down, and all the way down. And then eventually a kid ends up shooting up the school. And that's America. It's fantastic. I mean, because like I got totally bullied. And then I would, in hindsight, wow, I was a super shitty person to some other people because... Again, there's we were learning to be good Catholics, so that was part of it too. But
I must have had like a really weird school experience, because I didn't have that kind of shit really. Like, there was the occasional snarky, mean thing that some kid would say, but I was not bullied. We didn't have bullies at the school. I was not a bully. Like, we all just kind of like got along and went to school and learned shit. Like, it wasn't. I don't understand when people say like, "Oh yeah, middle school sucked." I'm like, it's fine. It just was a thing. Like I went to school and I learned shit, and then I went home, and like that. I didn't have like this really awful experience like everyone says that they had.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Mine was pretty
Maybe it's because I went to art school.
That's possible.
I went to a school for art kids. There were no bullies because we were all the bullied.
You got bullied out of the regular
bullied.
schools.
Was there a bully school across town?
No, no one ever got
Just
bullied.
all bullies.
I don't know.
It's called boot camp.
Yeah, we just separated them.
Well, you were in band too, right? So
Yeah.
that's a whole subset.
I was in band. I went to a very urban school that was just like, it was a real mix of people.
Yeah.
From all socioeconomic backgrounds,
Right.
race backgrounds and stuff. So it was just like, it was very like factioned.
So like a prison.
Yeah, like a prison.
You had the Aryan Brotherhood, and then like the Crips and the Bloods and
you
the
don't want to join
Vice-Lords.
the band in prison.
You might want to though. You could back up Johnny Cash or something.
There is some safety in it, but
yeah,
you're just going to get
you're
bullied
a target
as a group instead
for
of
sure.
an individual.
It's a like when I went to all boys Catholic high school for 2 years, and then I transferred into the public school system because I like the bullying at the all boys Catholic school was the worst. There was actually, this was a tradition by the time I got there. There was a game called Backwall which occurred on the RTA bus that was chartered to pick us up on West 25th and drive us back into the outer western suburbs. And so all of the sophomores who didn't have cars yet would sit at the back of the bus, and all the freshmen would sit at the front of the bus. And it would be a rolling brawl every day where a freshman would try and touch the back wall. If they got it, they'd get a, whatever loose change had been collected. But like, it was people getting the shit beat out of them, just kind of rolling. And then eventually it all turned outside. We started throwing shit out the window at people. There was like a line of litter down Lorraine Road for miles. But when I transferred out of that, because I think what it was is like you lock up 1,000 hormonal boys for 8 hours a day with no female contact other than a couple random teachers. It's just like a miasma of just fucking aggression and testosterone.
Right.
And, and everybody hulks out, even if they're like, nerds or whatever. When I transferred to the public school, the thing that was so strange for me is I was sort of an outsider anyway in hanging out with the funny haircut kids. So like they all had this history with these people. And they're like, that guy's a bully, that guy's a bully, like violent guys. And they were having trouble with them. Like, oh yeah, he beats the shit out of people. And they would. And there would just be like fist fights at some point that might have happened like 4 years ago. But once you get bloodied by some fucking thug, like
right, you carry it with you.
Yeah. And those guys are all like successful bankers now or something, probably, or dead. There's a very, slim margin on those. The one gag with Amy and Leela getting kidnapped when they come back from the commercial break and the cavemen throw the broom at them. Like, they want wives. Like, sweep. The thing about the because when so they rebuilt the spaceship in 2 hours, but then it took them 12 hours to make a slingshot out of the same shit. Like that's a total Futurama joke, but I liked it. But just like Fry liked that nice net that got thrown over him. Have you ever been caught in a net of some kind?
No.
No, my God.
It seems like it's a very frequently used thing. Like, I mean, I don't even know how you would use one to catch stuff though.
I feel like you couldn't catch me in a net, honestly. I feel like unless it was very
like tight. How does that work? Like, is it just that you get tangled?
I'm not a fish.
There's the ones that you throw that are weighted,
right?
But then there's the other ones like I can get if I like stepped into some kind of a booby trap
right.
where
it picks you up,
like a drawstring bag or something. But like
you just get tangled in it, and you'd get delayed and easier to fight,
or stabbed or something.
Right.
Like
I think throwing a net over like an animal, like they would just get disoriented in their limbs stuck in the net, so you could just scoop them up and grab them.
Yeah.
Humans a little bit different, where they have, opposable thumbs and feet and
well, even like
legs, and they can run
like a snare.
Scissors.
Like if you're supposed to like lay out like a snare for something, like they put their leg in that and it pulls them tight, and then they're stuck. Like I've never seen that shit work either. Like there's a rabbit out here that's been eating our beets. He's getting really fat too. I like to call him Stew because he will be someday. But like, I don't even understand how to like lay a snare, because you'd figure like, okay, you step into it and you step out of it. It's like a tripwire. If you see it, you step over it and it's done. But they all seem to be like very useful tools for primitive people, but they seem pretty simple to us. Maybe just
animals
evolved
were
past
dumber
it.
then too.
Yeah, I guess.
survival of the fittest.
They don't have YouTube. They can't figure it out. But yeah, so it just all comes full circle. The nanobots do the whole thing, and then they fly back to the ship, and he's proved evolution. But then that whole switcheroo here towards the end, just they like, here's the Scopes trial, enjoy. It kind of underlines how it's all, like, science is science, but really it's just kind of a different sort of belief.
Right.
Because,
he's saying that, I created you. You didn't evolve. Well, they evolved, but Farnsworth created them. He was the god of all of these robot people.
Right.
And it's true. And he says, I made you. You all evolved. Let's see. What does he say? You all evolved from some filth-gobbling nanobots I designed. I dumped them into one of your ponds a few days ago, and they say, but Earth was created... Oh, He says it was created in eons, not days. Relative to you, it was eons, but look at this hologram I took the day before yesterday of a robot frolicking with a robo dinosaur, and it's like Bender riding one of the...
Which is the same thing as Homo Farnsworth on top of the dinosaur.
Yeah,
and the other.
exactly.
I like the sign gag on the outside of the robot museum.
Yeah.
Where it says founded at 8:15.
I didn't catch that one. Like, yeah, the speed of everything was like, that's what's going to happen with the Singularity is once they hit it, it's, one day you're kind of having cyber sex with fake Scarlett Johansson, and then all of a sudden she's like, yeah, we're leaving. You guys are too dumb. So it's been fun, but bye.
Yep.
Go back to Robo-Oklahoma.
It was the matter of everyone v. Farnsworth.
Yeah.
And then Bender's whole defense of like, that's crazy. You got to find him not guilty by reason of insanity. Why was it Superior Gort though? Did you see that on the side
Yeah,
of the
I
building?
did.
sign. I didn't understand that either.
Was it a reference or just supposed to be like, funny sounding? Either way, I'm good with it. It was eye catching.
It's Gort is a robot from the day the Earth stood still.
Okay.
So, instead of Superior Court, Superior Gort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. He was the woo robot that came out of the disc, I guess.
Yeah.
Was that that was the original? Did they remake that with Keanu Reeves?
Yes.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen the original, but not the remake.
According to this, Gort is a town in South County Galway and west of Ireland.
But is it superior? That's the inferior court. There's a lot of peat farmers and whatnot. But yeah, ultimately, this is what happens. The robots evolve into non-physical beings. And if you want to get really deep about all this stuff, man, maybe that's what happened. Maybe there is a God, and it's just these beings that already evolved past it, and they became consciousness, and then we've all tapped into that. I'm really not on drugs. I may need to be taking a drug test soon, so I'm really not on drugs. But it got so weird, and I felt like it was just super anticlimactic. Then it's like, yeah, we're gone, and it's done, and they go back home, and it's over. Like they're in the jalopy solar-powered spaceship, and they land. But then it just goes off on a nice, Zoidberg's just fucking done with Q-Bert. It's like, I'm sick of him.
And then Q-Bert has the oven mitts on his hand.
Yeah.
He wants to be like his godfather.
It felt like it just kind of okay, that's it, and then they're off and done. But
Yeah.
that happens on these sometimes. Last week's episode was clearly super short because they threw in shit that it was completely unrelated. So I think they're just making things up now to tie that up. And I don't know if it's lazy writing or maybe you're not checking this out on DVDs anymore, are you? Or are you just watching?
No, I don't have any of these seasons.
Okay.
I'm just watching it on.
I wasn't sure if there were deleted scenes or anything that you were.
No,
catching.
I should find those though.
Yeah, they're probably dirt cheap now.
They might
It's
be.
a dying format.
Just go to the library.
That sounds like work.
But I want to own them.
You got a friend
true.
that works at the library. Could she just get them for us and send them?
I don't know if the Lakewood Library has them, but I know everything in CleanNet, there's tons of them.
Oh,
BeefNet
boy.
or whatever. So you can just drive 3 more minutes and go to Rocky River because I know they have every season. I've seen them there.
Oh, my neighbor works there. I'll get Nicole.
I've been finding them at the Exchange, and they're cheap.
I just don't like owning physical media. I don't want to have that
I
crap
started
because when
doing
you move,
it again.
That's silly. I'll do it if it's going to support.
someone gave me a
somebody's thing.
CD when I was at a show on Saturday, and I was like, I don't want this. This is just trash. You're just handing me trash, the equivalent of garbage. I don't want it.
How much physical media do you create now when you put stuff out? You've got a New York Times selling book.
Yeah, and I didn't choose to make that a book. That was somebody was like, "You want to make this a book?" And I was like,
yeah.
I guess so."
You're gonna pay? Okay.
Yeah.
Did they just send you boxes of it to have around, or
I got no. I got a box at the
Yeah.
beginning, and then now I have to buy them at cost if I want
Gotcha.
stuff to hand out.
I have boxes of CDs. I have boxes of CDs that were ones I listened to, but stuff that we were on 50,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, like that's what used to happen. It's like here's a box of CDs.
I
and,
still
like,
have like a handful of my old comedy album like sitting in a drawer somewhere.
it's just like there's just rando shit, and it's hard because if I go to like I don't understand even. Wait, you're a record collector though, or have you given up on that?
Nope, that's all I got.
Okay.
That's the only physical media I have and will continue to have.
Yeah, it's if I go see a band, I don't want to buy like vinyl because it's just
The heaviest of all of the physical
yes,
media.
and the most fragile, and the one that can be damaged by the elements. Like it's that was the beauty of CDs is like you could like throw them out your car window at 30 miles an hour and still go back and buff it out and you're fine. Yeah, I haven't even used that DVD. I did just use it recently because I bought a DVD. It was something I could only get on DVD, and then the DVD was fucked up. So like I tried to watch it, and halfway through, I'm like, all right, I'll put it in the computer, and it was obnoxious. It was fine though. We got through it. Easy.
We kind of did the same exact thing this episode did, where it kind of starts out with this long thing and then just wraps up abruptly.
Yeah, that's all. Get the fuck out. We're done. Thanks for coming on the show. It was super fun. I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
Yeah.
I wish we could have done this before Accidental to plug it, but everybody can come back next year.
Yeah, for sure.
And you'll be on, I guess this will come out Wednesday.
2 days.
You're also going to be on Doug Loves Movies when that comes out this week, too.
Yeah, I don't know what days he releases those.
It might maybe like Tuesday and Friday or something, but it was super fun. Like that was
fun.
that was a really fun show. There's a huge visual component that people aren't going to get, but it was
the mustache.
I was talking to Doug after the show, and he just left them on. So like, he had fake mustaches on as eyebrows and as a mustache, and it just made like his eyes are so like wide and crazy anyway. Like it just exacerbated all of that. But it was really fun. The episode's a good one, and it's another promotion for Accidental. What do you have coming up?
I don't know how wide your listener base goes, but I'll be in Vermont at the end of
We might have
September.
some listeners.
Yeah,
in Vermont.
we surprisingly have
Comedy
people all
Club
over.
in Burlington, and then
the Coat Factory.
Yep. I'm playing all the Coat Factories.
I'm surprised someone hasn't tried to do that. Like, I mean, if not a comic like setting up a show in a retail store, but like
I'd draw the line there.
But what if you could subsidize it with corporate money and be like, I'm gonna say like the Supreme, but what if it was like Uniqlo and they're just like, we're gonna set up a stage inside the stores and then have people come in and do like sets on Friday nights.
I'd do it there because that's where I buy my jeans, and I feel like I'd probably get a discount.
Yeah, at least they wouldn't pay you, but you could like get a 20% off or something. On your entire purchase.
Just Burlington Coat Factory in Vermont. No, it's Vermont Comedy Club, and then I have an album out called "I Was in Band," and it's on everything.
Yeah,
that streams.
But you could buy
not
it
physical
too.
Media.
Well,
you could buy it on. Yeah, you could buy it on iTunes. That would be great. But
just do it. Spend the $9.99 and get laughs that you can live with forever until you die, and then the license reverts back to Apple.
I think it's actually $8.99.
Even better.
I don't know why it's $1
deal.
cheaper than everything, but I didn't set the price, and I saw it, and I was kind of like, "Hey, wait a minute."
You're still gonna get the same 40 cents regardless. So don't worry. It's just coming off of their top line. So you're doing stand up. Are you still doing Fresh Out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At UCB East in New York on every Thursday.
That was a fun show too.
Yeah, and then you can go to jimtews.com. I have a calendar up, and
then Felines of New York.
It's still available in bookstores.
Real, actual, physical media.
Buy several copies.
Yeah, it's out there. It's actually we got our copy right there behind that little thing.
Oh, look at that!
Underneath the cat bed.
Perfect.
It's the best place for it. I think that's all. You have shows coming up out west too, don't you?
Oh yeah, I'm going to Denver, Fort Collins, and Boulder in the first weekend of November.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like we have more people listening elsewhere than we do in Cleveland, which is weird. So it's.
Oh yeah, and my podcast, Quitting Comedy. I forgot about that.
Which is also I like the conceit of it. I just listened to the episode with Danny Tamborelli.
Oh, nice.
What's going on with the Undone Sweaters?
We haven't played in a while. He's like touring for something else right now, something with Michael Morona, the other Pete. So we haven't been able to get together and play, but it's always kind of like a
Back burner.
when we have we all have time to do it because it's just so much fun, and we don't want it to not be fun ever.
Yeah.
So we'll do it when
So that's
when time allows.
just that was part
But
of the
there's still
shit
plenty
that
of
came
stuff
up.
on the internet if you're curious about it.
And you animated a Weezer video.
I did.
I mean, it's like you're just a multimedia, concern because it's all over the place.
Yeah.
But like,
Trying to turn it into a profit. Haven't figured that part of it out.
look, I've been doing music for 25 years now, and I've at times have gotten reasonable checks. No, it just drops in the bucket against all the time and money and everything else spent. Like it's not paying for this house. I could tell you that. You just got to find the day job stuff that works and just stay committed to your art, man. That's how you do it. What do we have else coming up? Just shows and things, right?
Yeah.
Go see Iron Chic. They're on tour. They're awesome. But you can find us at slurmcast.com. We have all our episodes there. A link to our TeePublic shop where you can buy T-shirts, and we will get fractional cents for each shirt that you buy. That helps us. Rate and review us in iTunes. You can email us at slurmcastpod@gmail.com. We're on Instagram and Facebook at slurmcastpod. On Facebook, I think we're the only Slurmcast there. And
Yes.
Call 216-438-1077.
Yes.
Call our
Slurmcast
Texas
hotline.
Yes, Tom's voice is on there. You can listen to the nice voicemail message, and we'd really like to get something other than the calls that are saying that my house is going to be repossessed because I haven't paid taxes. That's really the only one that's calling us anymore. It says Bullhorn and then my house address, and then you are in deep trouble with the IRS. And call us right now. We used to get nice messages from people. Send us some calls or text messages because we like hearing from you. And have a great week, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.